Anti-terrorism police converged on an area northeast of Paris today after two brothers suspected of being behind an attack on a satirical newspaper were spotted at a petrol station in the region. French Prime Minister Manuel Valls says he fears that the armed attackers who killed 12 people at a satirical newspaper could strike again. His comment follows another shootout in southern Paris today in which a policewoman was killed.
Silence in Paris, a minute being observed across France. And in other locations around Europe. To remember the 12 people killed in the attack on Charlie Hebdo, a satirical newspaper. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy expressed his sadness.
Ainsi, le Front uni.
France has to unite in the face of this brutal attack. Civilized society must unite in the face of this barbarism.
But as Paris was mourning the death of the 12 at the Charlie Hebdo HQ, a policewoman was shot dead in the southern part of the city. Police have been reluctant to link the two incidents, however. France's largest manhunt has taken over the whole country to find the men. Pictures of the suspects were released by police and 7 arrests thought to be their relations were made. Journalists in Paris say you can feel the shock of the attack on the streets.
This morning, there was a sign up outside school warning that about this heightened security level, about the attack yesterday. There was police cars outside schools, armed police outside religious buildings. You can see it on the streets. And the government knows that they have to show a police force on the streets of Paris now to kind of restore any kind of calm.
Back at the scene, the marks of the shootings remain for the public to see. And despite the brutal attack at the offices just behind me here, former journalists at Charlie Hebdo say they will ensure that the next issue is released on time. Jack Parrock, SABC News, Paris.
Earlier, primetime anchor Vabaxni Chete Miller spoke to our correspondent in Paris, Jack Parrock.
The police had descended on an area in the north of France, Villers-Cotterêts, and basically the two brothers are said to have robbed a petrol station for food and for petrol on their way. The two men described matched the description of Saïd and Sharif Kouachi, and at the moment we're waiting to see whether the police will now manage to capture these men, now that they seem to be closing in on their location some more.
Now, Jack, have authorities extended the country's highest alert status from Paris to other parts of France?
The country is on a high alert status. You can see it all over Paris. There's armed security guards. I myself walked into a shop just earlier and had my bag searched just by a normal security guard on a shop door. So there's a real heightened sense of security. Clearly, with the shooting of the policewoman this morning as well in southern Paris, everybody's concerned that something else might happen. And also there is concern of retaliatory attacks. There's been a surge in far-right sentiment in France in recent years, and there's some worries that perhaps that might boil over and cause some serious tensions within the communities here.
Are you seeing any attacks or retaliatory attacks against Muslims in the area?
So somewhere in the east of France, there was a Muslim kebab shop that has been attacked, it seems, but none of these incidents are being linked. The police are saying that at the moment they can't tell whether things are related to the Charlie Hebdo attack, and what their priority really is clearly now is finding the two assailants that killed the 12 people at the HQ of the Satirical magazine, just around the corner from where I'm stood.
Jack, as we're speaking, how would you describe the sentiment and the mood there in France?
Well, at noon, when the minute silent took place, clearly anyone that's been to any kind of city when this has happened, some kind of terrorist attack, there's a subdued atmosphere, a feeling of sadness for the families of those people that died. The Charlie Hebdo cartoonists are famous. They're on TV in France regularly. They're well known. it's something of a journalistic institution here. The French are proud of it generally. So there's a real element of sadness for what's happened and that some of these talented cartoonists have died, but also a relative amount of trepidation about what the future will hold, how this will affect France in the coming weeks, months, years, etc.